The JAK podcast. We're talking about some crazy things today. We got a lot on the topic. Another church shooting. We got a officer here to talk to us. Forget what the title, but we'll get into it. A situation with a woman unaliving herself, a pastor's wife, and some crazy takes from Amber Rose on why she's an atheist. And I'm gonna react to a William Lane Craig video, very what they call thug life moment. It's a lot of stuff we're talking about today. So yeah, man, let's get into this.
Right.
Gotta hit the logo. Hey man, so yeah, bro, I'm glad to be here today. It's gonna be a good day. So it's me, obviously, just Ashley Keaton, and today it actually is just Ashley Keaton with brother Tony in the building.
How y'all doing, world?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we
We're gonna
talking
get some serious
about
logic going today.
yeah, yeah, definitely, man. How was your commute? You had to handle some situations
Yeah,
on the way
yeah,
here,
commute
right?
wasn't that bad. Commuting from back from I was doing the traffic detail. Commute wasn't that bad though. It's,
Okay.
it's not a problem getting out. Actually, today wasn't even really a problem getting out of Atlanta. The funny part is I got rear-ended yesterday going up to work cover a site.
Really?
Yeah, just you're going up 75, 85, and what happened? All of a sudden we're at 65 mile an hour. All of a sudden everybody wants to slam on brakes. I put on brakes. I come to a stop. Next, nope, pop. Like I just got hit. I just got tagged. I can't even get mad because that could have easily been me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All the action happens. All the action definitely happens by you.
yeah, I know, right?
In
Tell me
your
about it.
area. We went to the gun range one time, and then all of a sudden, this man, a wreck happens right by Tony. All of a sudden, I look to the left. I'm like, Tony gone. He out the car. Where he go? And he run into the car. It's four white old people, Santa Claus, sitting in the front seat driving. They get out. Grandma got run over by a reindeer, got a cane walking out the car. I'm like, Tony busts open. He hit the car. He pulled that car open, and he pulled the door wide open. I'm like, dog.
Oh, I remember that too, man. That's when is that when yeah, that dude in the F-350 that ran to the back of them folks in the
Yeah.
little Ford
And they
Escape,
ran into a
and
pole.
they ran to the pole. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. That dude head was leaking too, man.
Oh
Yo, his head like he hit that like he went smack head first to that steering wheel, man. He was leaking too.
gosh,
Like that
man.
was that was wild, man.
Yeah, I think they were all good though.
I was like, yeah, soon they were good. Like race time, gone.
I know. What a crazy introduction to going to the range.
I want to try and
That's
be part of that
crazy.
theater.
Yeah, try not to use this one too much because it's super close.
Yeah.
That's for just comedic effect. You feel me?
Yep.
Yeah, man. Let me make sure all my audio levels are coming in good. Okay. Yeah, man. So look, y'all go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps us out with the algorithm, getting the video out there to as many people as possible. We're gonna start doing some new things. It's gonna be fun. It's a little switch up. Also subscribe if you're feeling it. Hit the bell notification, get notified every time we go live. Um, we're gonna be doing lives every Friday at 7. Sometimes it'll be me. It'll just be me and whoever's on the board, and then sometimes we'll have some guests to talk about it. If you want to get on the show, go to the thing right there and hit us up. If you got some videos you want us to react to, go to Instagram. That's probably the best place to find me. And I mean, you can put a comment in YouTube. I might see it. And then I'm gonna react to some stuff. But it should be pretty fun. I'm excited. So, and then we got brother Ashley in the building as always. Praying, keeping the room saturated. Got an extra camera for us if we need it.
But that's just a
And
busy man, huh?
that's a busy man. He ain't stopped praying since he been up there. So yeah, it's been a blessing. You see, he right behind me. Yeah, he keeping it locked. Yep. So, first thing, they're trying to ban the Bible. If you can pull up the article. So, some people don't understand exactly what they're trying to pass. So, with all the anti-Semitic stuff that's going on with Israel, Palestine. I say Israel, Palestine, but it started even before that with with that basketball player that dropped the documentary on the real Hebrew,
Hmm.
the real Jews.
I think it
So
was. I think it's called. What was it? It was a document called Hebrews and Negroes. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. Yeah, Hebrews and Negroes. That's what it was.
yep,
There's a
and
whole movie about that.
yeah, and I haven't seen it, but
I've been meaning to get into it, man. I ain't gotten around to it.
so now they're trying to say that any type of speech against the Jews is going to be um, banned, right? So there are parts in the Bible that speaks about the Jews putting Jesus on the cross, Jesus being put on the cross by his own people, the Jews. So now what they're trying to do is pass this thing, and it's like, yo, most Christians, Republicans, conservatives, even some Democrats, we're all for um you know, I say most of us are like for like standing with the Jews, standing with Israel, all that. But when you're stopping us from speaking the truth that's actually in the Bible, that's a big issue. Now you got Democrats and everybody. Now Democrats and conservatives are about to be joining forces because we can't let this happen. Now you got conservatives that are, it's just interesting to me. I say conservatives, but people are against hate speech, but they're for free speech. We're for like, yo, we should be able to say what we want to say. We should be able to speak things. And if somebody says something like, some people believe that Jesus is the devil, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, we don't agree with that. That's stupid. That's crazy. It's blasphemous. But when it comes to the law, I don't ever want to take away your right to be able to say that.
Right.
Like, go ahead, say it. You can talk about light skins all you want and say we're the scum of the earth, that we're mistakes because black people need to be a black people, white people need to be a white people. I don't care. I want you to be able to say that because I don't think the government has the authority to regulate speech.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unless talk about some real I say hate speech, but like, some threats to people's lives. Like, yeah, that's where we should draw the line. But this right here,
I'll tell you this though.
this gonna be a problem.
I'll tell you this as somebody who like myself who was a former service member. We swore a note. We swore a note to this thing to defend the Constitution, both from and defend the people of the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic.
Mm-hmm.
So that covers every part of the Constitution you swore to defend. Your right to free speech, your right to bear arms, everything straight down the line. So long as you're not threatening nobody, long as you're not inciting violence, as in like saying we're gonna kill all such group of people or this that and the third,
Yeah.
what's the problem? The thing is, this war has become too, especially in America, it's become too, how should we say,
Political or
too political for one, and also too snowflakeish
mm,
and too weak.
yeah, real soft.
Yeah, people have become too weak to just hey, this person said this about me. All of a sudden now we're going to cancel him. We can't have that happen. He talked about us. He talked about my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what become weak like this, man? We grew up, like we grew up say whatever, but hey, understand that you can say whatever you want. Free speech, is free speech. But sometimes, hey, what you might say might get you popped in the mouth. But
Yeah. I'm curious to see how Jews actually handle the interpretation of the scripture. I haven't done like a deep dive study on them,
oh
but
no,
I feel like they have a different way of they have a different I don't know. I'm probably sounding crazy right now because I
no,
haven't studied into into Jews, like how they actually view the Bible, because I'm
dude,
like,
it's a lot.
Ben Shapiro is leading it right now with the Jews. Like, he's more so Team Israel than he is
Yeah,
Team
of course.
America. So it's like now we got to think like, oh, hold up, and I like what the Hodge twins said. It's like, yo, I'm all for standing for Israel, but I'm like, wait a minute, Ben, are you? Would you like? If it came down to it, would you switch teams to like? Would you be more Team Israel than Team America? Like, which to me it's all irrelevant because it's like we're Team Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
Team He died for the
Right,
world to save your sins, John 3:16. But at the same time, it's like we do live here.
right.
Like, what should we give our lives for Israel, or was there something that happened in the Bible for a particular time, a specific time? It's just so much to think about, and people are like painting it with one you know, uh, what am I saying? One bland general brushstroke, but it's just crazy. But
I mean, I support Israel from the standpoint of yes, October 7th they were attacked.
right.
That was a very deliberate, very brutal, very vicious attack,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of innocent people died from that. I support them having to do what they have to do to root out terrorism on that part. So thus that came a war and a conflict, you know. And do I agree with the fact that innocent people are dying in this situation, a lot of which have been put in harm's way, a lot of innocents have actually been put directly in harm's way by Hamas. That's the
Mm-hmm.
government over there, you know.
Yeah.
But on the same token, like it's war. It's war. With war, it's going to be casualties, combatants and civilians, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So where does it end at? You know, where does this end? I understand Hamas is a terrorist organization. They have to be rid of the same way we felt about Al Qaeda, same way we felt about ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand it from that standpoint now, and I just leave it at that. Because it's like no different if somebody attacked us here, just like on 9/11. It was everybody was shaking us, including myself. Like I was like 8 years old and I wanted to go to war.
Mm.
At that age, I realized I wanted to go to war and do something about that. You know,
Mm.
so I get it. I get it to a certain degree. And now I just leave it at that part. As far as all the rest of it, I have no dog in that fight.
Yeah.
But on the same token, when it comes down to it, I'm America first. I'm an American citizen. I pay taxes here. I fought for this country. I'm America first.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to keep it at that. Like we need to make sure we take care of America first. Because right now we're bad off right now. More than what people want to realize. We're very
Mm-hmm.
bad off. We're approaching poverty lines like real bad.
Yeah. It's kind of like and you can take the article away.
Raj.
It's kind of like us paying for the bills of our neighbor or somebody that lives down the street instead of paying for our own family.
Yes.
It's like that's kind of where you have to think about. It's like, yeah. Now, I don't understand like maybe you can shed some light on it. I don't know. I just don't understand why it's going on as long as it has been going on. Like where I don't know, but I'm not over there. So I would have no
Brother.
idea like why.
Brother, this conflict has been going on for thousands of years.
You're right. You're
Thousands
right.
of years. More than we can ever account for, more than we can ever realize. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah. But hasn't it like exponentially had like a big growth? Like I don't know, like I can't catch up on all the it's just so much debate around this. So I couldn't even catch up on all of it. I mean I just the thing is it's like the way I look at it, it is a very serious situation. Yes, there are people over there that don't really know anything about what's going on and
Yeah.
they unfortunately they have to lose their lives because of it, and I don't even know what we can actually do about it to fix it. But it's like, yes, I don't want to think about them like just a mathematical equation, but at the same time, like in order to fix problems you do have to think about things like a mathematical equation.
Yeah.
You have to. And it's like, but at the same time, like, yes, you don't want to be so mathematical that there's no empathy in your heart. Like, yeah, if I really thought about it, I'd probably be like in my room depressed, not wanting to come out. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, how do you fix situations? You kind of have to put yourself in this bubble and ignore the things that are going on to a certain extent so you can actually do something about it. Because if I was over there, I probably would just be like, I'm next. So,
Honestly, just stick to what you can control.
yeah, it's like if you can't control
Stay in the
it,
realm.
then
Stay in the realm where Ashley Keaton can control.
yeah,
That's how you simplify the problem. That's how you simplify life for yourself, really.
yeah. It's just me sitting around being depressed, not enjoying life. It's not helping them. It's just adding more depressed people.
Yeah.
But it's not like I don't have any remorse for what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very serious. It's very
It's a
sad.
terrible
But
situation, man.
it's like I don't want people to look at me like I don't care, because it's like I mean what me getting upset about the situation, if it helped, then I would be crying every day. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it just doesn't make sense. It's like at some point, yeah, you kind of have to move to a rational state of mind to fix what you can. So
Yeah.
that's where I am right now. I mean, if there comes a time where I feel like, oh, me doing this will actually help,
Hmm.
then of course I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, donate $5. Everybody in America donate $5. We all in agreement. If that's gonna fix the situation, of course. Like I'm gonna be a part of that. But it's like, who now you got to worry about where's the money going,
Yep.
who's still. It's like
How's the money being distributed? You
exactly
know,
what are we gonna do? But that's just my real
is the money really going towards what we're putting towards? Is going to somebody's pockets?
exactly.
Same thing with like the BLM movement.
Mm-hmm.
We're donating. People are donating thousands of dollars to the BLM movement just for it to go into people's pockets. No buying mansions and cars. It's not going to the real cause.
Yeah,
You gotta think about it like that.
yeah. But they're so now we have to worry about. I mean, I don't know if this is even possible. I mean, I feel like people just set up impossible goals, but we were talking recently, can they actually ban the Bible? And now I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's a way they can, because it's banned in other countries. So I'm thinking maybe there are some slick ways they can. I don't know. It's weird. Like in America, can they really ban the Bible? Are they going to start cutting parts out of our King James digital apps because oh, wait, we don't want that in the Bible that Jews put Jesus on the cross. You know what I'm saying? Like what?
Well, you gotta think about it, man. Certain groups of people have already started doing that just to try to build their own narrative to make it what they want to be. Make it what they want to be.
Yeah.
That's already been happening.
Yeah.
Your dad preached about that heavily.
Hey man, get y'all physical Bibles, hide them, go Equilibrium style. Any other movie that y'all seen where they had to hide their documents? Like yo, just I'm always gonna keep me some physical Bibles on hand
Yeah.
just in case. Read that thing, and I think it was the Jews that taught me that they memorized. The Holocaust? Didn't they memorize the Bible?
Yeah.
And they had it memorized in their head before um you know Hitler did what he did
Yeah.
before like they had this, they were trying to memorize this Bible or something. That's what I heard.
I remember I was watching an interview on Sean Ryan's show where he interviewed a young female who escaped from North Korea, and she mentioned to the fact of like Kim Jong Un, the government has such a mental and physical stronghold on them to the point they had to be careful even with their thoughts and their minds to the point that if you caught with a Bible, you're dead. You're dead. You're going to the concentration camp. You're dead. You're going to be going to. But what one thing she said that happened was they had people actually had to memorize the Bibles in their heads
Yeah.
from line upon line because if they're caught with a physical Bible, it's game over. They couldn't even speak about it. They had to keep it all within their minds.
Yeah.
And that's terrible, man. That's wild.
It's a story with it's something that David K. Bernard talks about because he wrote certain books, Oneness of God, 21st Century Church. I forget which book it was, but one of his books, he got it translated in a certain language. He went to this country and they almost caught him. And he's like, I mean, this could have been, our lives. So, big shout outs to David K. Bernard for keeping it down and going across to different countries to distribute these books where he could have lost his life. So
Yeah.
that's why that's always gonna be the OG to me. You feel me? So yeah, 118th Congress, 23 to 24. What is this HR? I don't know. 6090. Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. Latest action: Senate May 2nd, 2024, received in state Senate all actions.
What's the thing not scrolling?
Yeah, because it's just an image, it's not the actual document.
Oh, let me go to the actual document.
No. I mean, I don't have it unless you are looking for it.
Yeah, I'm looking for the actual document.
That's what I'm saying. That's just the image.
Okay.
But yeah. What is this? Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. So, yeah, y'all just pay attention to what's going on because, you never know. So now, I wanted to react to this video with a few videos with Amber Rose talking
Amber
about
Rose, what she talking
she
about?
talking about why she's an atheist. And the thing about her that I've seen, obviously she does the whole S walk, not cakewalk, but and they wonder why, like, we have so much support from these men. And it's like, yeah, they're not supporting you. They're there. They did an interview to these guys. It's like, yeah, we here because, we want to see some women. It's like, obviously, they're not there in actual support of your movement or whatever you're trying to do. They're there because they just want to see some baddies. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But this is so I don't know if she started that movement or what, but she's on the prowl, you know what I'm saying? Spreading these confident lines of hypocrisy.
So in other
That's
words,
craziness.
some more low vibrational foolishness getting spread throughout this world and corrupting our people.
Yeah, man.
Great, just what we need. More of that foolishness. Great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's some it's crazy. Like every time I hear one of these people speak, let me see. So if this passes, Alexa, what's up, Alexa? She said, if this passes, I'll get in trouble for having a Bible, or they just gonna take parts out. If this happens, you won't be able to preach certain things that are in the Bible. I mean, this could be like the first step in them trying to get rid of the Bible. I mean, I don't know how possible it is. It may just be some dumb junk, but that they can't really regulate. I don't know. But you have to be careful of any little step because they can sneak it on us and we wouldn't know. Like they've already started talking about, a gun ban. Like, what are you talking about? Like the fact that that's even a conversation in somebody's political campaign is like,
Exactly. You ever notice like every time something happens, a certain president wants to get up there and first thing talking about banning assault weapons, high capacity magazines, like that's really gonna solve the problem. How about deal with the problem? How about deal with the problem for what it is?
yeah,
Deal with criminals for who they are and deal with mental health for what it is.
yeah,
How about that? Attack the problem at the actual source. Banning isn't gonna solve anything. All you're gonna do is start running people over with cars and people gonna start strapping explosives themselves.
yeah. Tony,
That's
I'm gonna need you to stop yelling at me though. Can you lower your voice? I know you're upset. Calm down. Honestly.
my bad, man. My
No,
bad.
no, but that's a real. I mean, I don't know.
I got a little charge about that. You feel me, man? Look. I want to look here.
Yeah,
At the end
but
of the day,
no, you're right
at
though.
the end of the day, man, I took pride to serve my country. To take a stand to fight for this thing. I
Yeah,
believe in it to the very core.
and it's kind of like saying, "Yo, Tony, you're the problem because you got the guns." You know what I'm saying? That's like a slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what we use, like guns are already here. Like we ain't gonna get into no whole conversation about guns, but it's like it's too late. Like once they made the swords, it's like
Man,
it's too late to stop making better
there's more
swords.
guns than
You
they
know?
have people.
Yeah,
You know,
it's crazy. Yeah, I
they
mean,
say they want to demonize guns, but yet they don't think about the times that guns have been used to actually protect life. Like I've actually done it. So
yeah. I
whatever.
like what Hancock said. Um,
What he say?
they said, I forget how he worded it, but it was something like, "Yo, you're causing so many issues," and he was like, "I'm not your issue. McDonald's is." So it's like, bro, you can't get mad at the guns when you know when America is literally tearing ourselves apart just by the stuff we eat, and y'all
Mhm.
over here worried about guns.
They don't get mad they don't get mad at alcohol for DUI accidents.
I mean, we getting rid of babies left and right, and we talking about some guns.
Exactly.
It's just
They
it's
want
crazy.
Don't
Yeah.
even get me started on that, boy. Don't even get me started.
Well, let's get to this
Let's hit this clip one.
this Amber Rose video.
All right.
Say it was the grace of God, but you don't believe in God.
I do not believe in God, no. No, I'm an atheist for sure.
Not a Satanist.
I'm not a Satanist, no.
And there is a distinction.
Satanists are just, they're atheists as well, but they're just more political.
Okay.
They have like it's actually a very rational, logical religion. They help a lot of people, a lot of women to get abortions in southern states that, where they're illegal. They help a lot of the gay community, the LGBTQ plus community. They're really great with that. They just use Satanists to kind of just troll, but they don't believe in Satan at all.
So that's the first clip. She's saying
A bunch of nothing.
a bunch of nothing. Satan. Now that is true about well, I say it's indirectly true about Satanists not really believing in Satan. Like it depends on which. It's like if you're in a real gang, you're either like kind of in a gang, or it's like, oh no, you're really about that life. You know, you got like play gangs that they kind of active. They're in it, like, but they're not like,
I get what you're saying.
you
Just
know,
like
not hardcore.
you have gang members who are actually part of the organization, but you have your guys who are real active, actually out there putting in the work and doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So just like Satanists, it's like some people actually, like there have been people who have actually said that Satan is more powerful than God. You know, so yes, there are real Satanists, but she's just saying, you know, she's an atheist, not a Satanist, but in a sense, even if you don't have the Baphomet, what is it called? The books with the goats and the bulls and all that, like you're still, you can only serve God or you can serve the devil. Now, if you're serving yourself and you are your own God, it's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of like what Kanye West was saying when he said, "I am God. I'm the God of myself." And it's like you start talking that language, you're taking a trip down Satanist lane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're preaching these things that the devil approves of. Like you really don't have to be a Satanist. It doesn't matter. It's like you're speaking things that Satan would approve of. He would write off. He would, yeah. I'm a co-sign that.
Yeah, that's what you really want to think. Go right on ahead, buddy. Yeah, talk all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get to the second clip.
Second clip.
Okay, so when I hear somebody say atheist, I hear anti-God. Is that true?
No, it's just the non-belief.
Okay.
So people would say, okay, you're an atheist. Why do you hate God? I don't believe in God, so I can't hate something I don't believe in.
So you don't believe a God exists,
No,
and you don't believe a God has ever existed,
no.
and you don't believe that there's a Jesus or a manger somewhere in Bethlehem.
Sure, Jesus could have been a man that lived on earth. I mean, I don't care to argue that. It doesn't make him God.
Have you always been an atheist?
No, I was a Christian my whole life.
And then when did you convert to being an atheist?
I would say a couple years ago.
Just a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was about a couple years ago. So I was on a spiritual journey. Started looking into Buddhism, Islam, different denominations of Christianity, kind of trying to see where I fit in. I went to a Buddhist temple. Nothing felt like right. And then I remember just being at church my whole life, and I was just like, people would be like, I felt the spirit, and I never felt no spirit.
Never?
No, I would like always put my hands in the air. Like I would kind of emulate people around me at church.
You know, she strikes as a person who had never had any true guidance, like
Yeah.
no real friends or real family actually guide her in the right direction. So she's lost, and she just kind of kept like drifting from place to place to try to figure out what actually works for her, instead of what the actual truth is in the situation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting out of that situation. She's lost. That's why she got that ugly little tech. Like,
What does that say? Amber Rose on her head or
I
something?
don't know what possessed her to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I see. I mean, it's so funny. It's kind of like Kanye West, being kind of taken on by Marilyn Manson, and uh, it's just when she's speaking about all of the different experiences she's had, that's what you call seeking signs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're seeking a sign, and it's like if you pay attention to your mind and like what makes the most sense, even on a scale of probability, it would be that God exists. So it's like you're waiting for a moment to happen to confirm it to you. I don't know what it's like. Some people are waiting for this magical, fluffy moment. It's like they have in their mind what they think the confirmation should be. But I told God, I was like, I don't care to see no angel. I don't care to see, a book like a Bible fall off my dresser onto my lap. Like I don't care if something a crucifix flies in the room. I'm not expecting it. I say, God, just touch my heart. But if you already have a mindset where you're doing what you want to do, then God is going to send you a strong delusion.
Yeah.
You're never going to find it if you're not like, okay, first of all, I want the truth. I want to do the right thing. But some people are not even crazy about the truth. They're crazy about what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their happiness is way more important than the truth.
Right.
So, yeah.
Like I said, let me tell you something. That rebellious spirit is something else too, dude.
Yeah.
Because when you're dead set on trying to make things the way you want to make it, instead of the way God lined things up to be, you want to try to run your own program. That's when things start falling apart.
Yeah.
And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen marriages fall apart. I went through two, time and time again. So I know what it is. I know what it is, man.
Yeah. And
So-
it gets a little
Good.
crazier. What
Good.
you say? Yeah, I don't know, a little phlegm.
Yeah, I was
but-
like that early. I was like that early working at traffic detail.
Yeah. So you can go to clip 3.
All right.
I believe that they're fictional characters, and this is probably gonna make people really mad, but I believe that Jesus was a cult leader, and I
Oh,
believe
wow.
that it actually worked,
Oh,
and they
honestly.
spread
I'm
his
so
word all around
angry.
the world.
Jesus is a cult leader. Have you said that publicly before?
Maybe,
'Cause
probably
I
on my
just-
podcast.
Because I just felt the internet shake. Maybe that was God. Huh? Wait,
Jesus, is that you?
Jesus is a cult leader?
Yeah. I think it's more likely that he was a cult leader, yeah. I mean, just think about it, Jason, you know? Live, you know, by my word, do as I say. I'm a selfish God. I'm, you know, spread the word around the world about who I am. And then the people
Explain how did she come up? How did she come up with that? Jesus is a cult leader. how can you? How if she can't even justify what she even said?
Yeah.
Jesus is a cult leader. How? Because you're giving instructions on how on a better way to live your life due to a higher purpose. You know, like I understand through my own trial and tribulations what it is to live outside that word and where it's gotten me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I know better. I do better because everything that I was supposed to have been doing that would have been right, that would have saved me from what I've been through, it's right there in the
You can
scripture.
turn that down.
Was that? Oh yeah,
I think it's been good, but
Yeah, it's
not that one, but the main one. Yeah.
yeah.
You can turn it all the way down.
All the way down.
Yeah.
Got you.
Because we can still hear it. But yeah, I think when people do, they take the Bible, they read it, and they take their own ideas and they just eisegete the passage. They just say, hey, this is how I can make sense of it. This is probably what it is. It's like, yeah, you can look at the Bible and pretty much get anything you want to, unless you're looking for what it actually means. Like, that's how people can maybe take certain things that you've said in the past and come up with certain conclusions of who you are and not even ask you why you did it.
Right.
So they can ask Jesus and say, oh, well, he's probably a cult leader. Yeah, if you think of him as a human who is not God, of course you can think of him as a cult leader. But if you think about him from a Christian perspective, then it makes perfect sense. And that's why I don't understand. Like, what I usually do is take it like a Sudoku puzzle method where does this fit? Do all of these things fit? Like, even like, I don't just take it on a spiritual trip and just say, oh, well, because I believe in God, that's why I wouldn't call Jesus a cult leader. Like, no, I kind of set my confirmation bias or whatever you want to call it to the side. And I say, let me look at this honestly. Like, let me look at the Bible honestly as like an atheist would. And then when I come up with is, oh, it makes sense. This could work. Obviously, it's not going to work if the only thing that ever existed were humans with no spirituality being real. Like, yeah, of course it doesn't make sense. But the second you consider spirituality could be a real thing, then it makes sense.
So my whole thing is here. So when has the word of God ever told you to do anything that would purposely destroy yourself? Not once. A cult leader would, because a cult leader is going to be judged during execution at the end of the day. Not once has the word of God guided me to do anything that led to my own self-destruction.
Yeah.
Not following the word of God did, and got me in a jam on various occasions. That's why I had to switch on, go what the truth was.
Yeah. Alexa said, "Gotta have the whole truth. Gotta have love for the truth."
That's
I
it.
saw that message earlier, so it's not a delay. I was just in the middle of talking.
He was elaborating.
So let's play the rest of this.
People around him were just like, "You're crazy. We're gonna kill you," because you're like indoctrinating all these people into your belief system. Like, cults don't have to always be, you know. I mean, he had some good lessons along the way, but
Not he had some good lessons along the way.
I'm just saying.
The church community is somewhere throwing Bibles at the screen.
But they don't have to, because that's my belief, right? I'm not throwing anything at them for their beliefs. You're not throwing anything at Muslims for their beliefs. We all believe in different things. That's why I love America.
That's what America's about.
Yeah, it's
That's what it's about right there.
Believe what you want to believe. Hey,
Believe
it
what
is
you
it
want,
is.
girl.
That's your God-given right.
Yeah.
That's right that God gave you. The
That's
devil
right
didn't give you that right.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my.
Oh man.
Her belief though. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, you can believe what you want to believe, obviously. But like, yeah, for all the Christians, like, oh, I'm throwing Bibles at you. I can't stand you. Like, yeah, that's a crazy mindset to have. But I'll just say I don't think that she's obviously not thinking it all the way through. You know, she probably there are just emotional reasons why people don't believe in God. It's never like, oh, this is the most rational belief. This is why it makes sense. It's like, no, it's usually like, we don't believe in God because church people are mean. Like, they don't say that right off the bat,
No.
but usually, oh, you got church people, getting upset. Like, that's my belief. Like, of course it's your belief. I'm not gonna get mad at you for believing that, but I don't know. It's just not the most rational belief. That's all I'll say.
I've actually seen where people who've experienced who've went through traumatic experiences say that they lost their faith, lost their beliefs, belief in God, because okay, why would they ask questions like, why would God allow the child die? Why would God allow somebody to harm children, to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I can see that. Or why would God allow somebody to SA me?
Yeah.
I had to catch myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ain't trying to get flagged.
Yeah,
You know?
Terrell said, growing richer said, "I love her to give her definition of a cult." Yeah,
I see that, but
this indoctrination.
yeah.
Really, she's explaining cult like indoctrination, because I'm
Yeah.
like, you're like that's the problem. She's explaining this whole situation like I'm reading the text, and this is how it speaks to me, and I just cannot stand when people do that. Like, oh, this text is so beautiful. This is what it speaks to me. And it's like, yo, what does the text say? Like, you say, oh, you're a cult leader. We're going to kill. Like, think about that. They're going to kill this guy for claiming that he's a god that actually doesn't exist. It's like, why would they do that? Like, obviously they believe in their gods, but, I mean, well, no, I'll say, like, if they believed in false gods, like they did with, Daniel, they believed in false gods, and then Daniel believed in the true God, they could say, oh, well, you're not worshiping our God, then it's like a big cult. But, I don't know. I mean, you can read into the text whatever you want to, I guess, but that's not what they said. That's not like in the Bible. That's not what they. Wait a minute. No, they did. They probably did think. I don't know. It's just you're grabbing like the bare minimum of the text, so you're running with it.
Without actually, she's pretty much reaching for straws at this point, without actually looking to actually do some real research on what's really going on. Or
Yeah.
how,
And I like what Growing Richard said. How many cult leaders would die for their members? I mean, yeah,
none.
That's
Not
the
a
thing.
one I've
Like,
seen. Not one.
I mean, yeah, she's really throwing away like all of the evidence for the resurrection. I know some people say, "Oh, there's no evidence for the resurrection. It's all just, But it's like, all right, so when it comes to macro evolution and men being women, we don't need a shred of like physical evidence for that, but we need all of this, supernatural evidence for how Jesus resurrected, we need supernatural evidence for that. When you'll take any shred of evidence for macroevolution being real over millions of years, like it takes millions of years for that, theory to happen, and you just take it. But when it comes to the resurrection, things where we have Cornelius saying Jesus was a magician, we can't find the bones, the tomb was empty, they have all this history to back it up, the medical evidence, if this actually happened to him, he would definitely die. Like, we have all this evidence for the resurrection of Jesus. Like, no, we're going to be skeptical here. But when it comes to macroevolution, we're not skeptical at all. We just, it could work. It's a theory. It could work. It's like, how are you so confident in us having a common ancestor with an ape that would be so improbable that would be proof that God exists, but you don't have any doubt, but you have so many doubts when it comes to Jesus resurrecting, even though people have had life or death experiences. I mean, yes, it's a miracle. It's never happened like it did with Jesus, but obviously, if you take it from a human type of evidence standpoint, you're gonna be like, oh, well, I need supernatural evidence. It's like, I mean, you just won't accept it then. You'll never accept it. Like, we can put all of these dominoes in front of you, and you're just gonna say, well, we don't know if those are dominoes or if that's one of them cake videos. It's like you're gonna be like, okay, well, we're just never gonna know. It could possibly be this. And that's what she's saying. It could possibly be that Jesus was a cult leader and everybody hated him and they just kill him because he was acting like God. Like, yeah, if you don't read the text, if you don't build it, like, yeah, you could just pull that out the Bible if you want to, but that just means you're not really reading it for real.
Right. Man, honestly, man, we try our best to try to show people the way, and try to show people the right direction, try to show them in scripture what it is, But at the end of the day, it's so hard to convince people because they're so set in their own ways and they don't want to change. They don't want to change at the end of the day, What can you really do about that? Like, do you stretch yourself, pull your hair out? Well, I don't have no hair to really pull, but do you stretch yourself, pull your hair out over the situation, or
everybody put your hands to the
just
screen.
let them figure it out.
We're gonna do the Kenneth Copeland. Hair grow.
Man, this thing going, it ain't coming back. This thing going, ain't coming back.
Hair grow.
It is what it is. This started going bald at like probably about 24, 25. I ain't worried about it no more.
That's what Kenneth Copeland said. He said, everybody, hair grow. Jokes crazy. Let's see I think it's the fourth one. Are we on the fourth one now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think me being openly gay, and
Yeah, God hates you. How are you gay?
See, but I don't believe that, and I've never read in a Bible that it said that. I think people take this book and have read and made many iterations in their mind of what because you can't serve a God who's about love and peace and helping those that
Didn't God kill like everyone on earth except for Noah?
I mean, there's a lot of people in this world dying right now that probably should die. I don't think that death.
I'm with you.
Eye for an eye. I mean, can we get back to that? But that's in the Bible.
Sure, but that's not. But Christianity's Christians don't live by that.
Yo, if we take the Andrew Tate approach, yes, we do. Oh, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate, where you at?
Andrew Tate did what they call nowadays stood on business.
Yeah.
he told it though.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like, what was I gonna say about this? Yeah, so from her perspective, God hates gays. From her perspective, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's just reading into the text, and it's not like I don't have a problem with her, right?
Yeah.
It's just her views are wrong. So it's like I'm just correcting what I'm seeing in the views, in her perspective, and other people do think like this. So it's like when other people think that God hates gay people, and there have been some people that have said it. There's this community that thinks like that this is actually true.
No.
And people always lean towards those people, and in their brains make them the face of Christianity. It's like, no. We're saying that it is It's damaging you. It's problematic to your life, to your health. It's problematic to the
To the reproduction
to
cycle.
the reproduction. What God wants for you. It has nothing to do with, oh, God hates you. Like, no, God doesn't hate you, because if he hated you,
Man,
then you would see no people that were gay coming out of homosexuality. You wouldn't see that, because if God hates you, there's no way for you to be saved.
man,
Why would
God,
why would
man,
God allow somebody to be saved that he hates?
exactly. God doesn't hate us. God loves us.
That means he hates
He
everybody.
hate the dumb stuff we do.
Yeah.
He hate the dumb stuff we do. Okay, far as homosexuality go, God said for us to be fruitful and multiply. How are we gonna be fruitful and multiply through same sex? How are we
Yeah.
gonna do that?
Yeah, it's really that simple. I mean,
That's what that's what it boiled down to.
but the gay dude, I don't know what his name is, but he still handled that. He was like, wait a
He
minute.
did.
He was like, there aren't some people that
He did. He spoke up. He did speak up.
there aren't some people that you would say need to die. And that's what I always say, like, we don't know morals, bro. We act like we can be the deciding factor of what morality is better than God, when we all disagree. Like, we all say, "Oh, we need the what do they call it? Death penalty."
Yeah.
And then they're debating that. It's like, yeah, we don't know. And we would say somebody like Hitler to kill 6 million people.
And
Like,
let me tell you something. I'm guilty
we
of it.
don't.
I'm guilty of it too. Because like in certain scenarios, I'm like, yeah, he probably deserved to go. Yeah, he probably should get the death penalty. Like overseas, like okay, he's a bomb maker. He's blowing up district centers
Yeah.
and markets and everything. Yeah, he got to go. You know he.
I mean, yeah, but the
Like,
thing is,
like
like,
I've seen evil. I've seen so much evil upon this world, man. It's to the point like. Even in my mindset at times, I may be wrong. Even in my mindset, I've seen a level of threshold of evil to the point like, yeah, they gotta go. Bottom line is they gotta go. To the point like, okay, you're still here murdering children, you're blowing up people, and okay, you're willing to go shoot up a school full of kids, you're raping people, you're destroying, it's like that. It's the point like there's a certain threshold of evil to me, and like I said, I'm not God. I'm not judge, jury, and execution at the end of the day. But like, once you cross a certain threshold of evil, it's like, gotta go.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, there were justified, killings in the Bible
Yeah.
that God, commanded. And to say that, like, yeah, certain things, like, on certain people, in certain people's minds, we would say, like, even what happened with Noah and the ark. Like, we would say, oh, that's so terrible. How could God allow that to happen? And we have no idea what type of people they were. And they say, oh, well, y'all are just terrible. It's like, but there's no other better standard for what morality is. Like, you would
Yeah.
have to say, like, if you don't believe in God, you kind of have to say that there's nothing wrong with that. Because how could you prove it? There's no element of morality on the periodic table. Like, it's either we have the basis of morality or there is none.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to guess, so, and a lot of the morality we stand on came from the Bible.
Exactly.
So it's like, what you gonna do about it? Like,
exactly.
who came up with that? How do we actually know what's right and wrong? Like, how do we decide that? Because we could be here, you look back 17th century, 14th century, I forget, 200 years ago, we had some issues going on. And could we say that was right or wrong? Like, without the Bible? Like, really, they used the Bible to cause it, but the Bible was actually why it was a problem.
Right.
But without that Bible, like, what, are they just gonna guess that it's wrong? You're saying, I mean, we could honestly, there are certain beliefs that believe that black people are, like, not as evolved as white people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, evolution, right? Darwin's evolution, very evil theory once you, like, really look into it. And some people say, no, that's not really what it is. But that's how a lot of religion, I think it's Mormons, they have that religious belief. It's very crazy once you look into it. But
if anybody want to expand on topic, speak on the chat, okay?
Yeah, if y'all got some questions, we'll definitely take them. But we're just
speak on the chat, talk it.
Yeah. So I want to react to, it's going to be clip 7, William Lane Craig, because I truly think, like, even everything that Amber Rose said, I don't think, I mean, she's at that point where she's looking for a certain type of evidence, and nothing is really going to convince her of the truth. There's no amount of evidence.
Well,
So
she's one who already has her mind made up. So what could you really do with that?
yeah, or if they say like, oh yeah, I'm willing to have my mind changed, but it's like that's kind of impossible because you're not accepting any type of evidence. You're very skeptical until it comes to what caused you to be happy. But you could play clip 7.
Okay, now, as for the experiences, the appearances of Jesus, Dr. Craig said that I deny these. I do not. I do not deny that the disciples had an experience which they interpreted, which they took as being an appearance of Jesus. I think they probably did. Well, how do we account for that? How can we say that they could possibly have had such an experience? Well, once again, he far too quickly and dismissively disregards the explanation of hallucinations. I was just simply reading the Encyclopedia of Psychology recently. It says that 1/8 to 2/3 of normal human beings experience waking hallucinations. Now, one of the standard characteristics of many hallucinations is that they seem extremely real. So, very many of these experiences, which occur, as I say, to a very considerable segment of the population, seem extremely real at the time.
These cases have to be assessed on a case-by-case basis.
Of course.
You can't dismiss the resurrection narratives on the basis that some other spurious miracle stories have occurred. You have to assess each one on its own merits. And what I fear from your response is that this watchword, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, is really just an excuse for an a priori rejection of the miraculous, because you weren't,
Right.
or you didn't give any sort of evidence that would satisfy you with respect to one of these extraordinary claims. It made it sound like, to me, you were saying that nothing would convince you, no matter what.
No, all sorts of things would convince me.
Well, with respect to the resurrection, though, I mean, you even said if there was a video camera, you'd say it was a fake stone that was rolled away. You know, I mean, what sort of...
That would be the more reasonable hypothesis under the circumstances.
Well, but see, that's what I fear. It is. It's just an a priori rejection of the miraculous here. You're not. There isn't any kind of literary testimony, historical testimony that could convince you.
So once again, these extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence in no way implies a bias against the supernatural. It's simply an application of a rule which we use in our daily lives.
But you're saying that when you say extraordinary, really what you're saying is no amount of evidence would convince me of these extraordinary claims.
Sure it would. If tomorrow morning, immediately after breakfast, suddenly there was an earthquake, you know, and a silvery light shone in the sky and the leaves dropped from the trees, and I dashed outside and there, towering over us like 100 Everest, was this giant figure with lightning playing around his Michelangeloid face, and he pointed down and saying, "Be assured, Keith M. Parsons, that I do in fact exist and I'm sick of your logic chopping." Dr. Craig, I would join you in the pew of the church, in the front pew of the church the next Sunday.
Be going to the question and answer period. We're going to go to the question and answer period, so we'll be going to the microphone as we wind this down.
You don't think that you would have said, "Oh, I was having a hallucination."
Exactly. I love that video.
Yeah.
So it really shows, like, I know for a fact, like, sometimes atheists just be slipping up. Because, I mean, now, after stuff like that happens, you know what atheists go back and do? They go back and double back and let's find an answer, an objection for this. Now we got to say, yeah, nothing would convince me. And then they keep it pushing. But it's like, whoa. So that means that no matter what type of conversation we have, you're just going to be a skeptic no matter what.
Exactly.
Like he said, I'm going to join you on the pew. But it's like, no, realistically, you're so skeptical that you're going to believe that that was a hallucination, that you had some crazy, vivid, realistic dream like people have all the time. And William Lane Craig, man, I know even Richard Dawkins does not, is it Richard Dawkins, Stephen Hawkins? I forget. But he doesn't want to debate him at all, because he's like, I don't want to hear your different views, your different premises of how God is real. You're different. Basically, he's calling them like assumptions. And it's like, no, William Lane Craig is philosophically laying out the most probable way that life could exist with a God. Like, y'all are sitting
they still
here.
don't want to accept that answer.
They don't want to accept. They don't even want to debate it. Like,
That's why, me personally, I don't go back and forth to argue with people over this. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gonna believe what you want to believe, and nothing I can do to convince you otherwise. I'm not about to sit here and wait. I'm not about to sit here and run my blood pressure. I don't have time for that. Shoot, my blood pressure run up about enough as is. All right, I don't have time for that. You believe what you want to believe. You'll figure it out one day. You'll get a slap in your face. And you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I just love the way that William Lane Craig handled that situation, because he really like gives them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
He's like, yeah, let's take this as far as it'll, and that's what I think atheists don't really do. That's why they fail, because they don't take their position as far as it can possibly go, which would be to doubt your own consciousness.
Right.
And some people say, yeah, this is nothing. This is an interesting form of nothing. And it's like, wait a minute. Why are you saying this if you actually believe this is you don't act like you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I really believe I'm nothing, I'm just going to be like sitting here and just like I'm not going to move. Like, what do you mean this is nothing? And you're so passionate to have this conversation. Like, what do you mean?
Man, why to tell them, okay, the sky's purple, you got it. Next. I ain't got time.
It's like y'all are trying really hard. And nobody tries that hard to doubt the existence of God unless there's some emotional reason. You can't tell me you logically came to this conclusion, because you logically come to conclusions that you believe you're actually here, you're actually talking. Like, what do you mean you're actually talking? If nothing is real, if God's not real, and that's not the most probable reason that we just came here, we got here. It's like, what are you talking about? This rock, like I could go into it all day, man. We don't have things just popping into existence from nothing. We would have a horse pop in this room if that's how things happened. If you could like study that, and this has only happened one time. Why? But they don't care about why questions, because it goes against scientific pursuit. It's like, okay, well, like I think that's my main question for atheists.
And
it's like, how do you know you're conscious?
And there's certain times that the scientific answers have been broken.
Yeah.
At certain events, there's certain things that even science couldn't explain. Why this happened? Why this person lived through this? Like, this should have killed him.
Yeah.
This gotta be of God. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yep. How do you close a plastic bag and leave some food in there, and all of a sudden life forms?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, what? Yeah. Life came from the air formed together, and like what? You know what I'm saying?
Man, certain things they can't be explained. So,
Yeah, man. So I wanted to go to this crazy view that Amber Rose has on forgiveness, and I just thought it was very interesting.
That woman is crazy in general, man. You talking about crazy view? Shoot, like I said, you gotta be a special type of individual. Had that? No, what? Never mind.
Yeah,
I want to speak on that.
So let's go to clip 5.
That thing crossed her forehead.
So for me, I don't believe in forgiveness if you don't want to forgive.
Oh.
That's my philosophy. I'm very happy with still hating people because it makes me happy.
I love that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I feel like a lot of people are like, forgiveness is gonna heal you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be better. I think if it's eating away at you, where it's like affecting your life, then maybe you should try a different avenue. But I'm very comfortable with hating people from my past.
How much energy does it take for you to just constantly be on hate mode? It has to be really draining. It has to be really draining.
Yeah, man. Everybody that agrees.
She probably hates somebody for the smallest thing too. Oh, he took a quarter off my nightstand or something like that. It's stupid.
Yeah. Everybody that agrees with Amber Rose, put a 1 in the chat. Everybody that disagrees, put a 2. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So,
it takes so much energy to just maintain hate throughout the rest of your life.
I don't know why I got so much phlegm in my throat, man. It's crazy.
And water change to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now I can tell from that video that, obviously, let me see. Eli says she the biggest hater. She hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. Hit the
she hate herself.
Hit the sound, the one that says Ken.
Mm-hmm. This one, right?
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's for y'all, man. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Man, The
Yeah.
thing is, though, she
Yeah.
has a lot. I see a lot of self-hatred going on within herself too, man. And
Yeah, a lot of hurt, man.
has she ever got therapy? Has she ever got counseling?
I mean, you know, the therapists nowadays, man, you could pick whichever therapist you want. And a lot of people pay therapists to agree with them.
That's true too. That facts. That is true too, man.
So,
'Cause like I said, I take on counseling, and the thing is, when I go, I want people to tell me the truth of what I need to fix within myself.
yeah.
You know, and that's what I go for, so I can make those true adjustments.
Yeah.
Cause I don't have a problem admitting, man, I'm messed up. I don't have a problem with that. That's
I don't
how.
have a
That's
problem admitting that you messed up
how we
either.
go. I know you don't.
Hey, man, everybody put in the chat. Tony messed up, dog. But
Shoot, look, I know I have my issues. I know. Look, man, I'm not perfect, dude.
we
Shoot.
all sinners,
But
man.
here's my thing, though. We gotta be open. We gotta be willing to accept that.
Turned into saints.
We gotta be willing to accept that at the end of the day. We gotta be able to actually truly accept the fact that we all need fixing at some certain points of parts of our lives, man. So
Yeah, you know, with not being able to forgive, like what she's saying. When people speak like this, it's like I don't like hate on, you know, Amber Rose or whatever. Um, those people, man, I feel like it's scary because they're so deep into this dark hole that they don't even know that they need to be saved from that. They don't even know at this point. Like, you don't believe in God, you don't believe in forgiveness, you know, it's like you're okay with hating people. Like,
Man.
now to her point, like I can see, like, not to say that I agree. I definitely don't agree, but I understand it's very hard to get past certain situations that may have happened. She said hating people from her past. So it's like, yes, I hear you, I feel you, but you just don't understand what you're actually doing to yourself. That's why when you said self-hate, I was like, that's kind of what that is, but they don't realize it.
I would say that self-hate, along with a lot of untreated childhood trauma, maybe.
Yeah.
A lot of it stems from childhood trauma. I could attest to some things, you know.
And she's saying she can move on by allowing herself to keep hating that person, but you can't possibly
If you're
move
still
on.
hating the person, you're not moving on.
That means they're ingrained in your head. If you you can't have hate for a person if you like you've moved on, but the hate is still there. It's like that's kind of a contradiction. It's like if I don't think about the person anymore, that's you moved on. If I don't feel if the scratch is healed and it's scarred over and it's healed, then it's like, oh yeah, now I moved on. But I don't move on if this scratch is still there. Hating takes effort. Hating means every time I see this person, I think about this person, like you have that mindset. So that means you haven't moved on at all. So you're not healed. And I get it, like forgiveness itself doesn't necessarily. So these are a few notes I had on forgiveness. So, you know, let's say something really
Speak on it.
terrible happened, right? Something very terrible. Like we think about, oh, this person mistreated me. But no. Let's get deep on this. A situation happens and it's very traumatic. Like someone in your family dies by the hands of someone else. Let's say even more traumatic. Let's say this guy killed a few people in your household. Like, because people are dealing with some serious stuff that, like, we as Christians, sometimes we can look past and say that we can minimize it to, oh, well, somebody probably talked about you and you hate them. Like, no. Yeah, that's some people have, more sensitive to things, and that forgiveness is difficult. But that's the one that you can speak to them, counsel them for a minute, and y'all can get past. But for somebody that's like, oh, there's been death in my family, I know who did it. Like, now that, I know some people that, had to learn forgiveness for people that, they wanted to take their lives because of what they did to certain people in their family. And I know some people that really had to learn true forgiveness. Now, me, obviously, we don't know for sure if we would have the ability to be able to forgive. We at least have to be, as Christians, we have to be real with ourselves and say, look, I preach forgiveness. I want to forgive. I know that if I don't forgive, I'm wrong. But society will tell you, forgive fast. And yes, you should forgive as fast as you possibly can. But we don't want is a fake it till you make it forgiveness where, oh, I forgave them, so now the people who are telling me to forgive can move on. And it's like, now you feel better because you told me to forgive and I did, but did I really forgive? That should be the Christian's concern. Like, let me make sure this person actually understands forgiveness, because the Bible says forgive 62 times and it says forgiveness 27 times. But do people actually know how to do it? Like, the Bible tells you to forgive, but then you have to go into how the Bible actually tells you to forgive. How are you supposed to forgive? And the way that you uncover how to forgive is first to figure out why. Because you can say, how do I forgive? But you can never get to actual forgiveness if you don't understand, why do I need to forgive? So why would you forgive a murderer? You know what I'm saying? Why would you forgive someone that has offed certain family members that you have? I mean, it gets deep and people think about it like on such a simple level, like, oh, this girl talked about me. Like, no. Let's go deep. So society expects us to fake forgiveness. Like, just say the word. Okay, good. I feel better because you forgave. And it's like, no.
It don't work like that.
It don't work like
It don't
that.
work like
Sometimes
that.
it takes, like, I want to be there for you. Long suffering, one of the fruits of the spirit. You got long suffering. I'm going to be here with you and say, hey, if you don't feel like forgiving yet, like, I'm here with you. I can't tell you that I agree with you, but I still want to be here so you can take like a actual, path to forgiveness. Growing Richer said, great point. There are people that have trauma that we can't comprehend easily. Exactly. And we have to understand before we just say, oh, well, it's a sin. You need to forgive. And if you don't forgive, then, I don't want anything to do with you. It's like, no. Have some compassion, have some understanding. You probably haven't been through what they've been through. And even if you have, you probably don't have the, you probably had, there are different variables. There are people who go through so much in their mind and they may not go through as many. Like, I'm going to tell you, what did it say? Self-deletion is a privilege of the high class. It's like, we don't know their mindsets. Like, they have never been through, like, if your child doesn't learn how to change the tire, how to do these difficult things as they're growing up, then it's going to be way harder for them. So you have to have understanding for all of those privileged, spoiled people that have not been through the ropes, so they don't know what to do. So it's like, have some compassion. Don't just think, oh, well, we haven't been through this physical hardship, so you should be able to deal with forgiveness quite easily. It's like, well, it's actually going to be 10 times harder for somebody who hasn't been through a bunch of junk.
It's always harder
because they're not
it's always
used
harder
to
for
it.
you the one actually going through it yourself.
Exactly.
It's always harder.
So the how cannot be really answered until you understand why. Now, forgiveness is not designed to set the person free from all, guilt, from all, it's designed to set you free.
Exactly.
It's designed to help you, okay,
to get that weight
I
off your
think I'm
shoulders.
actually going to do something about my issue and I'm going to move on. And how it would feel if, you let this person go, you give it to God, that person inside of you that you haven't seen in a minute, that person gets to live free now. Now that person, that happy version of you, that you get to let, like, that monster that did this terrible thing is attached to you for the rest of your life until you let them go.
Right.
Now you have to live with that person for the rest of your life. And it's like, until you let that person go, whatever. Like, God, have your way in their life, whatever. Like, now you're actually at a place where, like, dog, I don't feel like now you don't have to worry about, am I a terrible person anymore? That self-hatred could be coming from you not forgiving someone else, and you don't even know. So
learning that forgiveness piece was even hard for me. Cause I come from a place where like hate reigns supreme. Hate truly does reign supreme. And if you got conflict, beef ain't never squashed. You better be on your game. You better be ready to handle that. So it's like, I can tell you about an incident from back in my childhood, say like 2003, where there was a situation where my brother, he was in some stuff, and he was staying with my grandparents at the time, and some dudes kicked in the door. He wasn't home at the time, but both my grandparents were held at gunpoint in 2 separate rooms. They were robbing the spot. One of the intruders, yeah. One intruders left out the room my granddad was and allowed him enough time for him to go retrieve a 357 revolver. As soon as that intruder came back in, that intruder took around to the stomach, and my granddad pretty much kicked the gunfight off, and he won. But the thing is, the forgiveness piece was hard for me because, like, okay, these 2 dudes came in my people's house with the sole purpose of to rob or possibly do harm to them. What if my grandparents wouldn't have lived through that, I couldn't forgive them.
Yeah.
My mindset, even after that situation, though, my mindset was, it's on.
Yeah.
I gotta get. I'm 10 years old with the mindset. I gotta get out here and get after it now and get after them.
Yeah.
I didn't know what forgiveness was then. I didn't know anything. My mindset was, beef is on. It's go now. As a young child, I had that mentality, and it is up until probably about like 16, 17. It was hard for me to break. So I know what it's like to experience. I know what it's like to truly experience trauma. Your friends die. Your family died a lot at the hands of another. Going to funerals all the time. I've experienced war. It's tough, man. So I understand the trauma. I understand like the hard what it takes to actually truly forgive somebody. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think those dudes are. As far as those dudes, I don't think they're walking this earth anymore. To be honest, but yeah. But
And some people think that if you forgive someone, then this is going to make you a pushover. You're going to allow things to happen, and it's like, no, we are not saying that if someone, like if they came into our house and stole our PlayStation, that doesn't mean that we're going to allow them to come in our house again and steal it. Like, you can never come in my house again, but
no,
enjoy them games.
the thing is, okay, if you forgive somebody, that's one thing, but don't forget. Don't forget the lesson learned from that situation.
Exactly.
That's the main thing about that.
Because if you forgive and you just give them a clean slate and you just like, yeah, dude, I don't even care about that anymore. Come back on. Then you're a fool. Like, what?
And then you're bringing on the same situation again. What happens to you again?
Now, y'all can slowly build trust up, and depending on what the situation is, y'all can slowly build up trust again. But you don't just be dumb and let somebody, take over you again, because these people are savages, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is the next point I wanted to bring up. The reason why it's so important to forgive is because there are some men that are just dogs, and they mistreat women, and they just players. They don't care about them, and they don't care about the dude that they cheating on their woman with. Like, they don't, and then women can become for the streets, and they don't care. They're gonna do what they want. They can become real nasty. And what we're doing, we're in a cycle of creating savages, man.
Yes.
And we can't get past it because they did me dirty. I'm gonna do it's like in sororities where they hit us with the paddle, we're gonna hit the next people with the paddle.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like it's a continuous cycle where this just keeps happening. It's like, wait a minute. I think there was like I don't know if it was some movie where it's like, wait a minute, do we have to? It's like they're the ones that hit you with the paddle, right? But obviously, like, we're not preaching like you should hit the people back with the paddle, but it's like you're keeping a curse going by not forgiving someone is keeping a curse going. So you're basically allowing them to control your emotions every time you see them, every time you think about them, every time. Well, I feel like I'm fixing my bra every time my shirt. Time my shirt.
Really?
Let me fix this. My bra's slipping out. No, I'm just playing.
I hope you ain't got a bra.
Nah, I ain't got no bra, man.
We had to talk about that.
I left my bra in my drawer. No, I'm playing. I ain't got no bra. But yeah, so you're allowing them to create a savage in you, and then you're gonna hurt the next person and create some savages in these people, and it's a terrible process. But once you forgive, it's like, yeah, it does feel like crap for like the first time, and it feels like very terrible because like you let them get one up on you, and you're not going to get them back. And we love those movies where revenge, and I love those because that's why I get my joy. You know what I'm saying? When somebody does me wrong, I'll watch a movie and watch somebody get somebody back for what they did, oh yeah, it feels so good. But it's like, I don't want to take on that mindset. I want to be able to, like, all right, I'm gonna let it go. And there are certain moments where you can get back at somebody and you weren't vengeful. And that's like such a golden moment. Like at the job, your boss is treating you wrong, but you don't want to lose your job. So it's like, but you can, like, I've had moments where I was at work and it was like I forgave them, but at the same time it was like I got them on a certain moment where they look really dumb. And I wasn't disrespectful. They just looked dumb in front of everybody. I was like, oh man, it's such a great moment where
Yeah.
I didn't have to act out of character. Those moments, I feel like God allowed me to have that. That was,
So did you have the mindset? Gotcha.
I felt it, but I was just like, I was playing it cool. Like, they look dumb. Everybody sees that they look dumb because they tried to correct me on that, and they know, like, Ashley was right. Now you look stupid. So I wait for those moments, and maybe I get too joyful for those. But hey, like I'm saying, God, we all work in progress.
They go to
So
moments. Hey, you gotta love it.
but I'm not trying to create savages for sure.
You're not crazy savage. You just join a little bit of you just join like the small little moral victories. You know,
if God gave me that win, God will allow you to see. Honestly, when God allows you to see somebody's downfall that treated you wrong, you're gonna feel bad for them. Depending on the situation.
depend on the situation. Because let me
Like,
tell
if
you something.
somebody is abusive, and they're like an abusive manager, whatever, or an abusive coworker or ministry in your church, whatever, and they're talking down on you, when they end up in a bad situation and you show nothing but love to them, like my granddad, on my mom's side, he said that he he used to be an officer, and he didn't cuss. He was still a Christian. You know what I'm saying? He was a Christian man. And this guy talked so much bad about him. He said, no, he did this and he cussed me out. And they said, Jimmy did not do that. Like, you could have said anybody else's name. Jimmy did not do that. That is not true. And then, he just talked so bad about him. He spit on him and all this, and he was just so respectful, and then all of a sudden he started crying because he said, man, I've treated you so bad, and you just, you were just there, and I cannot. And I've had moments where that has happened to me, where people have treated me bad and they came back and apologized in tears, because of how they, and I'm not saying I'm some upright, like, perfect guy. I try my best, but those moments, you kind of feel bad, like, oh man, I don't know what created this person. It's like when you watch, like, if you ever watch anime, you see these villains and you're like, yo, I hated this villain. I hated what he did. But now it's like, geez, he had it rough. So it's a cycle, man. It's not just when you think deeper, on a deeper perspective, it's not like you're going to love the guy, like, and think he's Barney. But you have some understanding. That's what caused you to be this way. Like I could go into that, man. It's just. I just say, think a little deeper, man. Think a little deeper, because these people that's treating you so bad, they got some terrible junk going on in their lives. They're dealing with stuff, and you could be the very person to bring them out, but you're thinking about, oh, they cussed me out, so I hate them now.
I will say this here now. People that treat other people bad because people go out their way to treat other people bad because they hate something within themselves. They hate what they see in the mirror, and that's often the case every time.
Sometimes it's their projection.
It's either whether they got something going on at home, something internal within themselves, and they just like to project it on others.
Yep.
So that's why you got to watch who you walk amongst.
So the last thing I wanted to say on forgiveness is it forces us to look at our old wounds, so our scars over time can heal. It forces us to look within ourselves and deal with the internal things, and that's what we don't want to do. We would rather blame things that we feel, pain that we feel, on other people, and what they did. They're the reason that this happened. They're the reason that this happened, and I've done it for sure. And I didn't want to look at myself and say, hey, you know what? I could blame that person, but I would rather. I feel like over time it gets easier to forgive the more you figure out what the problem is. A lot of times, like I said, some situations they're harder They're a lot more difficult. I get it. But for the most part, you get to find out that this was not a them problem at all. This was a me problem. I had an issue. I couldn't stand I couldn't stand myself. I didn't think I was a real man. And when they messed with that and they pointed it out and they tried me and they belittled me and they looked down on me, I didn't want to forgive them. But then I felt like it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I dealt with my own lack of confidence. You know, if they did something negative to me, it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I felt like I was prepared in my finances. When they stole from me, I had a plan of preparation ready. You know, it's just certain things like that. Like, I don't like if your parents are doing something negative and they're bad, like, that's a learned lesson. And they were a kid at some point. So it's like, now I can, but this conversation about forgiveness, man, it's going to keep going. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely going to have to cover that more.
It goes very deep. It really
on
does.
The show. And there's this pastor who really had the ultimate form of forgiveness after what happened. There's a pastor in, I forget, it's going to show it on the clip. What
clip is it?
It's clip 6.
Okay.
This pastor that showed true forgiveness, what true forgiveness is.
Let's see what's up.
The good Lord was definitely with this pastor who just started his sermon when all of a sudden a man in the congregation jumped up, pointed a gun, and pulled the trigger. But the gun jammed, and a good Samaritan's jump saved the day.
Hopefully we don't get flagged.
The pastor is conducting Sunday church services when mayhem suddenly breaks out. Out of nowhere, a man walks up to the altar rail, points a gun, and pulls the trigger. By some miracle, it jams as the pastor dives for cover. Then a hero emerges. Take another look. The assailant appears ready to pull the trigger again, but he's tackled to the floor. The hero is a church deacon who makes a flying leap and puts the suspect in a bear hug. There is a frantic effort to get the gun. All of this is playing out in front of the congregation and a live stream as people watch from home. Reverend Glenn Germany of the Jesus Dwelling Place Church in Pittsburgh says he couldn't believe he was staring down the barrel of a gun.
At the moment, I was just trying to stay alive. It really is a miracle.
Germany says he does not know the suspect. And there's the hero church deacon, Clarence McAllister, after confiscating the pistol.
What is going through your mind when you see this guy with a gun?
Oh, I was shocked. I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
We reunited the pastor and the hero.
He's your guardian angel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so grateful for him.
All right, so
yeah,
I would
break that down, Tony.
I would say good job on the deacon for handling that situation. Good job on the deacon for handling that situation, but that's why churches really do need security. Because come to find out, that dude actually killed somebody in his home just before he went to that church and pulled that stunt.
Yeah.
So who's to say he had a weapons malfunction? Maybe he might have been out of ammunition. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he had I believe he pulled the trigger and
I think they said it jammed.
Oh, the fire.
But it could have had.
Fire pin went forward. There was no discharge. So.
And he went up and tried to. I mean, it could have fired the second time.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy.
No, he would have had to probably do a correction on that one. Tap rack.
So that's 2 times recently that we've seen. The first, the Bishop
Mari. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna keep happening.
Bishop Mari, the knife didn't come out, and then this one, the gun jammed. Like, God is protecting some people, boy.
I'm telling you.
Because it's some sick. Because we've seen the videos in the churches where they got shot and they deleted 2 people, but then somebody from that video, somebody from the back had the gun.
Right.
It had the most amazing aim I've ever seen, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that video honestly was kind of traumatizing to me, to where the point where we're going to church, every person that has a black hoodie that walks inside the church that we don't know, we're just like, oh my god.
That's why I pay close attention. That's why I pay close attention to people in hands, dude. That's why I pay close attention to people in hands. Because the thing is, it's gonna keep happening until you get more hard security in churches.
Yeah,
it's gonna keep happening.
And they got churches that
I'm not saying stand outside the church with the AR-15, stand outside the front of the church with the AR-15, but strengthen up security at least to where you at least monitoring everybody coming through the door. Have armed security, but invite people in and everything, but still be prepared. Because this gonna keep happening because there's still a big orange alert out for attacks on churches. Because like I said, this dude literally just killed somebody in his house before he went to that church and pulled that stunt. He just did that. So kind of me, how I would handle it, he'd have some rounds in him.
You talking about the dude in this video?
The one we just watched. He just killed somebody in his house right before that. They went to his house, they found a body.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man. So
goodness. And you know, they said this guy looked like he was on some type of drug. And he ran up. Well, he walked up and he pulled the gun out and, you know, tried to shoot. And then, you know, I'm just thinking like the pastor, like he kind of didn't have any other options but to run. And it's like,
yeah, he heard him duff a couple real quick though.
If that gun would have got off, I don't know what he could have done. I mean, he would have had to. I mean, I don't know.
Well, he did the main thing he could do in that situation was getting out of the line of fire. That's the main thing he could only really do.
Yeah.
But that's why people need to invest in church security, man.
I'm constantly thinking, like, even at the keyboard at our church, I'm thinking about scenarios to where, you know, do I need to have a weapon under my chair? Like, do I need to have a?
You're in a good position for it too.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you that.
You mean in a good position to get shot, or a good position to handle the situation?
Both. Yeah. I
don't know if it's a good thing or not.
You're in a very strategic position, to be honest. Like,
at least I got my keyboard to. I mean, I don't know what should I do in that situation. I mean, we might have to run some.
That's something we have to discuss online that we couldn't announce to the public.
Hey, we're gonna run through some drills, y'all.
We couldn't announce that to the public, man. That's something we're doing a personal time, man. But like, this is gonna keep happening.
Just don't come to our church unless you want that smoke, bro.
Oh, trust me, I got plenty of smoke. Yeah, I got plenty of smoke.
We are not looking for a fight, but we are prepared, man.
Look, we are not. I'm not.
I ain't never wanted to pray to see the devil, but
we ain't having it.
But we gotta be. See, that's what I'm not praying to see the devil.
I don't.
But we are prepared if the devil come through the doors. You know what I'm saying? Got to be.
And understand this. Even in the world of policing, no officer looks for a conflict. So no officer looks to take anybody's life. Nobody looks to get into a shooting. Nobody looks
gun owners do not. The last thing they want to do is use their gun.
Right.
I mean, most
any
of
law
them.
abiding gun owner, the last thing you want to do is have to use your weapon on somebody. But understand that if it comes down to it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If it comes down to it, it is what it is. Nobody wants to do it, but when it comes down to it, you're gonna get the business.
Yeah, and he immediately, you know, he was already like, when he was down, like he got the gun out of his hands. He immediately was talking to him for like 20 minutes. This is what he said in another interview. He was immediately talking to him for like 20 minutes, and he was praying for him. He said, you know, what's going on? Like, I don't know what the guy on the ground said. I guess, you know, we'll hear more about the report later, but it was a scary situation.
Yeah, I need to go back and look that up.
Yeah, I saw an interview he had, and he was very forgiving of this guy that had this weapon, you know, aimed at him. Like, I could only imagine the uproar that we would have if somebody even thought about aiming a weapon at our pastor. Like, oh man, I've heard some things about, you know, people saying what they would do to the pastor, and I'm like, yo, do you understand like the anger and the fury that comes through our minds just hearing about stuff like that? Like you ain't got to disagree with this man, but to think an evil thought towards this man of God and the sacrifice that he's done,
yeah,
and you want to think about something evil to do towards it, like, it's just, I know our whole church would just
yeah.
Some of us would put the Bible to the side and be a savage in that moment. You know, it's hard to, but then again, I don't think we would be sinful for using anger to solve the situation in that moment. It wouldn't be sinful. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta take care of our own.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and honestly, that's why I chose law enforcement. That's why I joined the military. That's why I chose law enforcement as a profession, you know. And even what I do as far as the church goes, man, like, at the end of the day, the way my mindset is, I prioritize the life of bystanders, even my fellow officers, the life of my teammates, before my own. And I truly believe in laying my life down on the line to protect others. I believe that wholeheartedly, down to my very core.
Yeah.
I'll give my own just to make sure somebody else lives, even people I don't even know. And that's just why I really feel in my heart and my spirit. That's why I felt overseas. That's why I feel in this job, and that's why I feel now, even when I go, even in the church.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. That's why I truly feel about my friends, my family. Like,
yeah,
I don't worry about me in situations. I worry about take care of others. Like my life, I'm cool. I lived a pretty good life. I'm cool. You know, I got a good will. My daughter be fine.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to cover was this pastor's wife, Mika Miller. You know, she ends her life. It's a very crazy situation. Do you have the link that pulled up on the internet?
Yeah.
So, and you can pull up the article again and then take the image off. You got to go to article first.
Okay, I'm on the article. Yeah. Still trying. Forgive me, y'all. I'm still learning the system.
You good.
There we go.
And then you could just mute that part of it.
Boom.
Yeah. So, fisherman recalls hearing crying before gunshot, finds body of South Carolina pastor's wife, Mika Miller, with gun and Bible. So, this situation, and it's not this video, you can scroll down. That's just something extra. So, this situation was so crazy to me. Just hearing about it, this guy, the pastor, he met her when she was 10. And now, and he was 25. And he had his wife when he was 25, and then later he divorces his wife and he marries her, but obviously she was of age, and now she's 30. So that's already kind of, a little weird. So the personal items belonging to the estranged wife, South Carolina pastor who fatally, deleted herself in North Carolina State Park, founded a local fisherman who responded hearing her crying moments before the heartbreaking discovery. Now, the guy, they were speculating if the pastor had any involvement with her ending her life. He was not in the same city, and they actually have a recording. Like, I'm not gonna play the recording. It's really sad, but they have a recording of her saying, like, I'm about to end my life, and so the pastor, it was kind of a weird way that he stood up and presented it, but I don't want to jump to any like speculations, but there's some like allegations of certain like abuse, certain like her having to do like them having to have intercourse like 3 or 5 times a day, like it was like forced, like we have to do it's some crazy things that she had to put up with. And what is it? Mika Miller, she age 30, died on, let me see that part. In Lumber River State Park on April 27th, suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head after reportedly crying for several minutes before the fatal shot. A fisherman who had been going up and down the nearby river claimed he heard crying at the fatal shot before discovering Miller's belongings lying alongside the riverbank. She had her license, her bank card, keys in the bag, little small Bible, her purse, all of her credit cards, and a few receipts from some things Johnny Jacob told WTW. What is this?
WBTV.
WBT. This is told WBTW.
Yeah, the station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the news station.
As I decided that I was going to stop fishing, I came back through. Oh, this is what he told her. As I decided that I was going to stop fishing, I came back through. Stopped where. Sorry, I can't
Came
really
back
read
through.
that.
Stopped where they call it a slough or lake off the river. He said.
So I pulled in there with my little boat, and maybe 5 minutes after, and maybe 5 minutes into the slough, I heard a cry. I heard it for about 2 or 3 minutes. Then I stopped, heard a gunshot. Then the crying stopped. Okay, let me see the rest of that. So that's her. It's really sad, man.
She's a woman.
Mika Miller, estranged wife, South Carolina pastor who found. Okay, and then let's go. I think that there's
more.
One more. So, although the fisherman didn't see Miller's body, Jacobs says he would have helped if he had. If it had been a person that was crying the open, I would have just checked. I would have checked them all day long. I would have checked on them all day long. He would have stayed with her.
Yeah.
I just wish I would have gone in there, checked on her. We wish she was there, got there earlier. Authorities also provided a timeline of Miller left her house and went to buy the gun at the store in Henry County on her way to State Park. I know I'm doing a terrible job of being a news anchor today, but let me see. Scroll down a little bit. So that's the man. Okay, let me State Park. Yeah, so Miller's husband, let's see, Pastor John Paul Miller casually announced his wife's deletion after giving a sermon to his congregation at Solid Rock in Myrtle Beach. So I know on the show, the service, he preached a whole sermon and then he casually brought it up. He said, look, instead of doing an altar call, and you can see the video if you search it on YouTube, he said, my wife, she's not alive now. It was self-induced, that the reports are already out that this is how it happened, and I'm gonna take some time off. And it was just like,
and he didn't remotely even like.
It didn't show. Did you see it?
No.
Yeah, but that's it. It didn't show like any type of Does it show him on there? Him and her? I think it shows both of them.
Yeah, right here.
He just didn't show any
remorse. Seem too concerned.
Now, I mean, I'm not gonna jump to conclusions. I know people handle things differently. Some people just have a hard time showing emotion when situations like this happen. Let's see. Came 2 days after her husband was served divorce papers from her, according to court documents. So she served him divorce papers, and then she did this 2 days later. So many ways to look at this. I mean, they're saying, like, from some reports, you see that she's had, mental problems, but not like, mental illness in the sense like,
she's been dealing with some things that's called psychological issues.
Yeah. And then on one hand, the pastor has been known to be somewhat like abusive in certain contexts. I don't know if that's like, well, okay, this one. Okay, before her unaliving, she reportedly told her sister that if she was ever found, deleted, if in the exact manner she was found in the park, her husband was responsible, according to affidavit filed by
her younger sister.
Filed by her younger sister,
Sarah Francis.
So that's what's so crazy. This whole situation, we're probably going to be, talking about it more as it progresses, but like, we're not like investigators over here, but I don't know if you had any experience in this type of situation. I wish you could see like just the video of how he talked about,
I could probably pull it,
his wife. Yeah, you could probably pull it up. But you can go to the main while you're pulling it up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, main, and then try to pull up go to a tab, because it'll probably stop the live. So hit Command T, and you can, or just another tab, it don't matter, and try to find that, pastor's wife, Mika Miller. But yeah, so you can go to like angle Control 3 or something.
Control T.
Command T.
Command T.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So go to like angle 3. Angle 3 or something. Gotcha. Yeah. So this whole situation is, it's kind of complicated now, and I'm sure it's gonna, unveil itself the more that this goes on. But this pastor, just the way he closed the service, I'm not one to say like that I can figure out what's going on, but you know, and I'm sure when Tony sees the video, he'll see what he makes of the situation. Um, but you just have to be careful who you allow to be your pastor. I know some people even left the church after they heard about this. You know, after he ended the service the way he did, some people left the church, and you know that situation. Where if you felt, but it's so weird because he wasn't even in the same city. So this is really
All right, here you go. I found it.
okay. This is really a situation that's super wild.
I gotta find a way to bring it up.
You know, well, you can bring it up, and then when you hit articles, it'll come up. Yeah, so you know.
Get that sound up. All right, I'm about to roll it.
The shocking announcement that his wife, Micah Miller, died by suicide, the same wife that filed for divorce just 6 months earlier. It has a lot of people scratching their heads. Interestingly, Pastor John Paul Miller waited until after he got through with the Sunday sermon to make the announcement. He also asked the congregation to leave quietly and not talk about it at church.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody.
Now, the pastor noted that his wife struggled with mental health, but a lot of people are skeptical. Her friends and family say there needs to be accountability and are asking that the police deeply investigate the case. Her family is seeking #justice for Micah, and they say a no-contact order and divorce was filed just days before her death. The pastor husband gave an interview to...
I think it's justice for Mika, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's good though.
No. I want to see the rest of this.
Let it roll. All right.
Yeah.
To a local station. Listen to what he had to say.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for. She was incredibly affirming. We spent every night together for hours just talking and talking and talking.
Miller says her death was a suicide, but a cause of death has not been released.
She had struggled with suicide before, and each time, helped her through it, took her to her doctor, and we got through it, and everything was fine. And she even gave a few testimonies here at church we have on video of.
It's not just that interview that raises a lot of eyebrows. The obituary does as well. The obituary reads in part, she would praise her husband after every church service, telling him he was the best preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. She also told him he was the funniest preacher in the world, even though that wasn't true either. This case has people talking all over the internet, but police say they are still investigating the case. I've tried to reach out to Pastor John Paul Miller, but my calls have gone unanswered. I'll keep you posted on things.
He ain't answering that.
Goodness, you can go to Maine. I don't
he
know what they got up there on the next videos to play.
Man, bro.
We're not playing any of those. Yeah, what you think, Tony? I don't know, man. This is crazy. This situation ain't normal though.
That behavior is pretty sketchy. I'm just saying. Then he said it happened the night before. If I had a wife and I found out that happened the night before, we ain't have a service.
That's what I'm saying.
Service ain't going down right then. Nah, man. Nah, we gotta handle. We gotta figure that out.
It's so strange because I know there might be some people out there that's like, well, I still got to do the will of God, and it's like, yeah, but like, I just feel like any human, like if like my wife, not just some family member that I don't talk to all the time, like even that, like, but your wife, like your mom, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, like, even your mom, like if she's like older and it's like a I guess an appropriate age where it makes sense. But even your mom, like I mean, I know people can toughen through it, but dude, you're talking about it, and like, I know pastors know how to keep their emotions in check, and they know how to put on a show, but it's like, I just say, man, when you see your pastor, just know some of these pastors are hiding some ways that they are, like, I'm not trying to put out like pastors, but I'm saying in general, there are some pastors who you have to pay attention. You cannot put them on a pedestal and think that they are perfect, that they would never do this. You understand that there is a presentation. Me right now, I am presenting a version of myself that y'all not gonna see necessarily in front of my all of my friends, because it's not appropriate for a ministry. But it's like, yes, I may look at certain movies or certain things that it's like, oh, my channel, certain people on my channel are so saved, they're not gonna want to see that. Like, you just got to be real. Like, God is working on me, so I want to be somewhat transparent to say, like, yeah, there's probably certain things that Ashley does that some of his community is not going to agree with. Some of the people that watch my channel are not going to agree, but you wouldn't know that if you're putting me on this pedestal to think, oh, Ashley's perfect, he don't do anything wrong. Like, that's crazy. Don't put me on that pedestal. Like, I appreciate the pressure because it causes me to strive to be a better person, but you can't put me on a pedestal where you think I'm perfect. That's crazy. So when y'all put these pastors on these pedestals where y'all think, oh, they can't do anything wrong, you understand a lot of these pastors are presenting a version of themselves that is the pastor, which is fine. I don't want you up here telling me the nasty thoughts you had in your head last night. Like, I don't want you to say, but if you have those thoughts, I don't necessarily think, oh, you're not fit to be a pastor. I just don't want to hear about it on the pulpit. Like, keep that to yourself.
Right.
Like, if you got certain sin that's in your head, like, I'm not going to say, I'm not expecting my pastor to be perfect. But y'all have to understand, there are certain pastors that have certain motives. You cannot look at the person that's on the pulpit and think that is the only personality that they have. You cannot physically think that is all who they are. Like, any political views, any conversation that they literally talk the same way on the pulpit that they do with their friends. Like, you just can't have that mindset. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
To assume this person's so perfect that when they leave. Now, some pastors, I will say, like our pastor, I have, like my dad,
He lives it.
I have lived with him, so I know the person on the pulpit is, I would say, 95% of what we get at the house. Like, obviously,
I've experienced it myself personally, so he's one who is truly about that life. So
and that 5% ain't no sin. Like, from what I've seen, the 5% is just, who he is around the kids. And he can't necessarily be that exact same person at the church. But it's like, why would you, like, that doesn't make sense if you expect your pastor to be the same. Like, yes, I'm not going to sit up here and talk about certain anime shows that I watch and get all in depths to, I'm not gonna talk about, I don't know. You just gotta understand, like, there's a certain conversation that is for a certain environment.
Exactly.
I'll keep it like that, just to make it simple.
Yeah, but
like, it doesn't mean that person's a sinner,
right?
But it's like, there are certain I have a big problem with the way that Tim Ross speaks. Even though I respect this man and he got some very good points, and I would not mind him being a mentor to me in certain areas, but certain things, like, nope. I can't agree with you having a whole ministry, whatever you want to call it, the basement, and then you saying certain things like comparing Jesus to a stripper and saying certain cuss words, being very vulgar with your language, talking very open about sexuality, the way that you talk about it. Like, yeah, I respect you. I respect your points that you bring up, but the way that you talk about it,
that's not what we here for, bruh.
Even I'll give you this. For Tim Ross, even if he spoke about this stuff behind the scenes with his boys, I wouldn't even be so upset about it, right? I wouldn't even have no problem with it. But you got a whole ministry, different people. I think you need to present yourself knowing that there are kids watching. There are like certain conversations are not meant for adults. They're just meant for, they're not meant for
not meant for children.
They're not meant for children.
Yeah.
They're meant for adults. And you could talk about certain, but you got a whole community. You got to know that when you're out here having this conversation, that there are certain sinners that are watching, that are looking, let me view one of Tim Ross's videos and see about God. And they hear you, oh, it's okay to cuss. It's probably okay to do a bunch of other things. You know, and it's like, yeah, I'm not condemning you for speaking that way, period. But I have an issue, and I'm not condemning you, period. But I have an issue with you speaking this way on the actual platform that is supposed to minister good tidings in the gospel to people. And you don't know who's watching your channel. Like even Andrew Tate recognized this. When he started out, he said some things. He was talking to Pierce Morgan, and he said, I realized that now I still believe the same things, but that's all I'm saying. Now I have to speak about it a different way, knowing the views that I'm getting. Even Andrew Tate understands this, but you know, Tim Ross don't. And I'm not even getting on Tim Ross like that. Like I respect Tim Ross. I think Tim Ross has helped me in a lot of ways from his points, from his views. But it's just like, if somebody make a video and they say, oh, Ashley, this where he goes wrong. I'm cool with it. Make that video. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to respond respectfully. I'm not going to be over here making no hate. Like, yeah, hater, bro. No, he did it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to say, I appreciate that you did this. Let me respond to it respectfully. You know, let me take from it. All right, you're right. I see where I went wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I don't think I would never like categorize Tim Ross as a clown or a fake person or anything like that. I just think certain people that are so open with what they say, how they say it in every context, every atmosphere, that's a little bit destructive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you're going to have kids over here saying the stuff you're saying because you say it's okay to put it on the platform. A ministry platform. You could say it's not a ministry platform, but that is what it is. Because by definition, what you're doing on there, you're bringing forth ministry. This is not a church right here, what we have. But it's still a ministry because it's something that God ordained.
Yeah.
So.
You gotta make sure you're spreading the right message on it.
Yeah, man.
But as far as that pastor goes, I can't sit here and say whether he had something to do with it or not because you're innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. So
yeah,
I can't speak on that. I'm not going to speak on that. We'll find out. We'll find out. Might have another reaction video off that, based off those results.
Yeah, man. So that's all we have today. If anybody had anything in the chat they wanted to, bring out, we can answer questions or anything like that if y'all had something. But other than that, we're gonna give our final thoughts. You can obviously find, Tony's stuff in the description, but you can go ahead and give your final thoughts, Tony.
My final thoughts are, as far as Amber Rose go, man, I just wish she really get some counseling and really get to the root, get to what's inside her, and learn how to love herself more.
Yeah.
And once she learns how to love herself more, a lot of things will change, and she'll actually truly find God where she needs it, where she needs God in her life. Man, as far as what happened at church, it could have been prevented. That should have been checked at the door.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying people need to take security more seriously, because churches are considered soft targets. That's why people always try to get away with that. As far as everything else, man, that's all I really got.
Yeah. And then they can find your link in the description.
Yeah, you can find my link in the description box. Phoenix Defense Solutions. She wants some training. You want to learn how to properly defend yourself, when to defend yourself, come holler at me.
Yeah, when you gonna start training churches, going through drills and stuff, you're gonna start with us first, right?
I've been started with us.
Yeah. I remember we started training.
I've been started with certain people within our organization already.
Oh, okay.
So that's already
night training. Yeah. I definitely need some training. Me being at the keyboard, like what they call it, a soft target.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I just say that you're in a position of more that offers a good bit of strategy than you realize.
Yeah, definitely gonna go through some things, man. But my final thoughts, man. I enjoyed the show. Obviously, guys, everybody liked the video on your way out. Really helps with the algorithm. If you enjoyed the conversation, it helps us get it out there. And also subscribe if you're feeling it. Hit the bell notification, get notified every time we go live. Go live every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to interrupt the conversation at any moment, you get a super chat. We about to get our first YouTube check. That's gonna be a blessing. So we are monetized. We moving up. You can hit them horns for us, brother. If they work. I don't know if they go. Sometimes they be going offline.
Which one a horn?
The first one. Is it showing a little exclamation or is it working?
It's not working.
Yeah, just hit the Kendrick then. You don't know nothing about that.
You don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, because them horns,
You don't know nothing about that.
I don't know why they be going like off for some reason. But yeah, so I just say like, don't put your pastors on pedestals because they're real people.
On a pedestal.
Don't put your parents on pedestals because they are kids that grew up to be the age of adults, but we all have adulting to do. We all have to be adults and we have to move up to being adults. You can move it to camera 3, I think. So we all have to become adults and we all have to grow. And you come to God as children wanting for God to elevate you. You don't come to God as an adult. So one problem we have, we put other people on pedestals and we expect them to be perfect, but then we also put pressure on ourselves and we expect ourselves to be perfect. And then we can believe that we are adults in God and we don't need God to train us and help us to grow and develop because we're already adults. We already know all of this. So we don't need to be corrected on things. And the one person that's a fool in the kingdom of God that God actually says is stupid is the person that doesn't want to learn. So if you're a person that doesn't want to learn, the Bible says that you are stupid. You're a fool. There's like being ignorant is not the sin. Not wanting to learn is the sin. So but what happens when we put ourselves on pedestals, that is the mindset of not wanting to learn. That's when we are allowed to put ourselves, that's when we allow ourselves to be on pedestals, when we're at a place where we don't feel like we have to learn anything. Like we know it all. We have the confirmation. Our confirmation is not biased. Our confirmation is God. And then that over trumps everything that God has to say to you. So now you can't be corrected. So, but I think we had a good discussion. Y'all, shout out to brother Ashley again. He been praying the whole episode. He been helping us out. But
that's a true prayer OG right there, huh?
A true prayer warrior right there. Ever since he got in here, he been blessing the pod. So, yeah, man. Until next time. God bless y'all. We out of here. Peace. Oh, you got to hit the end.